Today is a triumph for freedom as huge as any victory that's ever been won on any battlefield.
That was President Lyndon B. Johnson 47 years ago today as he signed the Voting Rights Act of 1965, outlawing discriminatory voting practices. Today, with a 3-month sprint to the election, the GOP is ramping up its efforts to suppress the vote. And now Governor Romney has put himself right in the middle of that effort. In the crucial swing state of Ohio, a new voting law ends early voting on the Friday before the election day, but it allows active military members to vote until the Monday before election day. The Obama campaign, the DNC, and Ohio Democratic Party are suing the state's election officials to restore early voting for everyone because all voters must have the same rights. But over the weekend, Governor Romney accused the president of being anti-military, calling his lawsuit, quote, an outrage. Ginning up his own fake outrage, his claim that the president is anti-military is absurd. Steve Bennett at Mad Owl blog tracks Romney's lies, and by his standard, this one is, quote, as loathsome a lie as Romney has told all year. Obama campaign senior advisor David Axelrod calls it shameful. Now, under Romney's logic, we could say he's against anyone not in the military. This is ugly politics, and it's wrong. Joining me now is Congresswoman Marcy Kaptur, Democrat from Ohio, and Jon Soltz, an Iraq war veteran and chairman of VoteVets.org. He wrote a piece on thinkprogress.org today titled, "Why Does Mitt Romney Want to Restrict Voting Rights for More Than 900,000 Ohio Veterans?" Thanks to both of you for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congresswoman, let me start with you. Explain for our viewers what Romney is claiming here.
Well, what he's saying is that he's actually twisting the truth because in Ohio, the Republican establishment, including the Secretary of State, have denied early voting the last 3 days before election, as you've stated, to anyone but veterans. And that means that our senior citizens, people who work late, the spouses of those in the military won't be able to vote the important weekend before Election Day. And what he's saying is because the Obama administration is now taking that case to court, that ruling to court, that they're against veterans. But what the Obama administration is for, and the Obama campaign is for voting rights for all Ohioans to vote the weekend before election. Why deny them that right?
And including the military, those that are active in the military. So it's not against them, it would include them, but they're saying include everyone else.
But include everybody, including our veterans, the people who love them, the people who support them, their families back home. Why not support the citizens of Ohio? And so he has really twisted this into the wind in a way we don't even recognize. But remember, the Republican Party in Ohio is trying to suppress the vote here because they know the president is ahead.
Now, John, you took it an even step further because you pointed out that the law is only talking about active military. It doesn't even cover veterans. Is that right?
Well, that's correct. I mean, this is a terminology issue. So a veteran is someone who's currently on active duty, but when you leave active duty, you're a veteran. So what Mitt Romney's plan wants to do and what he's fighting for is there's over 900,000 veterans in the state of Ohio. Obviously, if you're a veteran, you're over the age of 18, and you can register to vote and vote. So under the Romney plan, 900,000 veterans won't be able to vote early. And, you know, active military it's just a different term. The law only protects people that are currently active military, which means it's their full-time job. So our argument is really simple, and it doesn't surprise me based on Mitt Romney's service record, which doesn't exist, and his kid's service record doesn't exist, and I'm sure most of the people around him, it doesn't exist. The public has a hard time understanding what it means to be a veteran. So if you're a veteran who served in Vietnam and lost both of your legs, or you're a disabled veteran who returned home from Iraq and Afghanistan, or you're an elderly veteran from World War II that was in Guadalcanal, you can't vote early. I mean, don't you think that it's hard for elderly veterans from World War II to make it to the polls? So that's what the Romney plan does. It says that older veterans who have served their country for years, some who've retired after 20 years of military service, are somehow less of a veteran than our active military. And I frankly find that appalling as someone who served 2 times in Iraq.
No, it is appalling. But, Congresswoman, I mean, how can they justify this? I mean, it would seem blatant to me.
It's blatant, sir, but this is being done to suppress the vote in Ohio. During the gerrymandering that just occurred that affects congressional districts, they split many precincts, which is going to cause a higher use of provisional ballots in many places around our state. They're trying to change the law, as you have been covering this evening, to not allow early voting for the majority of our voters here in Ohio the 3 days before election. They're causing chaos at our local boards of elections around the state, in some of our major counties and even some of the smaller ones. So there's a concerted effort to suppress the vote.
By doing this, Congresswoman, because this is happening all over the country. I was in Florida yesterday, going back tomorrow. Now, Ohio's critical. Pennsylvania has a lawsuit. In 2008, there was an estimated 93,000 ballots cast during 3 days before the election. By changing the time and by lessening the options, you say the president is ahead in Ohio. You're saying the number could be cut down, and therefore it could be the deciding factor in a close or tight vote in Ohio on who wins that critical state?
Absolutely, because those votes would not be cast. And people would have to go back to the polls. They're used to early voting in Ohio. We've done it before. So this would be changing the pattern that's been established here. Many people go after church. People go late after work. They use that Saturday voting. It would all be gone.
Yeah.
And so this really would have a major impact. Tens of thousands of votes are cast on that weekend here in Ohio.
Well, I guarantee you we're going to stay on this story in Ohio and all over the country.
Thank you.
Congresswoman Marcy Kaptur, Jon Soltz from VoteVets. Thanks for your time tonight to both of you. Ahead, folks, this fight is personal. President Obama does not like Mr. Romney. We've got the inside account tonight. Plus, why the right wing is questioning Gabby Douglas's patriotism is so absurd, it's actually funny.